Mephisto, and this combination executed perfectly at the end of the game.
From Alarak, make it a quad kill set up by that ETC.
Wow, did you see that mosh pit? 4-man mosh pit while on a conveyor belt. That was like a regular sushi line.
Nubrac, core at 50%. Both cores are just absolutely melting. Which one's going to go down first? I think this is going to be Respect the Gooses. Oh my goodness.
Ring. Oh my goodness, the ring. Jaina just blowing up everybody here. That's a 4, make it 5.
And it does not fall up. What a play. Oh my God, somebody please clip that.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the Nexus Gaming Series. It's part 2 of the doubleheader tonight, and we're going into Cursed Hollow here with Division A playoffs. This is the first round. There are only 2 rounds for each coast, or for the West Coast, because they were a double round robin team. They had a smaller division. So we only have 4 teams in this coast. But we're going to see tonight between Tainted Orphans and Minion Miners. So, taking a look here, let's take a look at our standings, and we're going to get into the draft here in just a moment. Round 1, Tainted Orphans versus Minion Miners. That's a match we're going to be watching here right now. Also, if you happen to be invested in watching Division A, specifically West, Phoenix Rising Ruby and Regen Retro going on right now over at twitch.tv/MurdaRG. So feel free to check out both games. Just to check it, what the standings were here. Tainted Orphans, they were at first place in the West Division here, 24 points. Minion Miners coming in at 4th with 15 points. Our map bans for the evening here, Tainted Orphans, they banned out Tomb of the Spider Queen and Towers of Doom. And Minion Miners, they banned out, they banned out Towers of Doom and Tomb of the Spider Queen. Tainted Orphans banned out the Abraxas Holdout and Sky Temple. Our first game going to be on Cursed Hollow, brought to you by the Minion Miner. And as you can see, we've already started our draft. We got Zool and Johanna, the bands, coming out from Tainted Orphans. And then we got Cassie and ETC on the other side. Cassie, ETC... And these guys are ready to go. You may have noticed we're actually starting a little bit early. Both teams showed up early. They wanted to get things moving, so I'm not going to complain. This is an East Coast cast, so having them ready to go early is great. We're going to get a Falstad, so has that Mighty Gust, but more importantly, the Global that's going to help to counter the pressure from that Abathur. But with Abathur, we've got Muradin and Greymane, both fantastic heroes. The combo with an Abathur hat. I'm going to see the Urel ban here, the 3rd and final ban from Minion Miners. And a Nubrac and Falstad. So Nubrac's going to be able to cocoon a target, so he can, potentially cocoon that Greymane if there's the concern of that Curse Bullet threat and just the auto attack damage that Greymane can bring. And the Lost Vikings going to be taken out. I don't think I've actually seen a Lost Vikings game in a while, but I've seen them banned out. And since they had some changes, recently, some players enjoy them more, some enjoy them less, but it certainly changed how they get played and probably a little bit where they get played as well. But in a similar vein there, we're going to get the Ragnaros to help out with that XP through a Lava Wave, potentially, and Stukov coming in with that Silence Arm. And it's our good friend, Senor Mac of Cheese. It's been a while since I've cast Senor Mac of Cheese. All right, so doubling down on the global here. We got the Dahaka to come in with the Abathur, Karazim. So lots of auto attacks. Most of the blinds are taken out, so we may not. Doesn't look like we're likely to see a blind here, unless we saw a Lili, but I don't think that's likely given the circumstances. So they're just gonna have to accept that. And it's gonna be Li Ming. Karazim and Variations is playing the Haka. Okay. Oh. There we go. All right. Well, there we are. Set up for game number 1. Cursed Hollow between Tainted Orphans and Minion Miners. Division A West, round number 1. You know what? We got time. Let's hop over and see if I can get the poll. Oh, wrong one. Manage poll. Hopefully that didn't just run an ad. All right, you can now vote in chat. Hit the drop down, select which team you think's win. Is it going to be Tainted Orphans on the left there with the Abathur comp, or is it going to be the Minion Miners over here to the right? Going in with the Ragnaros and the Falstad to get that global value going. Hit the drop down, select the team you think's going to win. Hit the vote button. If you don't hit the vote button, your vote doesn't count. Here we go. Game number 1.
Prepare yourself for battle, heroes.
Alrighty, on the right here, we've got the Minion Miners. Marshall's going to be playing the Li Ming. Himibo on the Ragnaros. We got Senor Mac of Cheese on the Stukov. Marshall is on Li Ming. I already said that. Wesgra going to be playing the Anubrak, and Murderin on the Falstad. On the left, we got Tainted Orphans. Murden going to be played by Bridge to Death. Raver on the Greymane. We got Waffle Man on that Karazim. Variations on the Dahaka. And Will to Live, giving a little bit of worm action from the Pajamather. It's going to be Tainted Orphans. All right, so taking a look at some of these talents, we do have the Perfect Storm for Murden. Going to be looking to stack up those Storm Bolts. Get that additional damage. Made a little Sledgehammer action at level 4. Does give them pretty good clear if they take that. They got that Greymane. They have the Karazim who went the damage talent at level 1, so extra damage every third auto attack. And then, of course, Dahaka gets around the map, has that enhanced agility, so he's even going to be moving around a lot faster. Gets that Brush Stalker bonus for longer. Hey, Mrs. Wind-Up Bird, showing off the alpha emojis. You love to see it. We also have here the weighted pustule talent here for Stukov Fetid Touch, so he'll potentially get rid of that mana cost or reduce it. And a very early camp here coming out right away for both teams. Both sides coming in here. Psychic with the thinking alpha. Blast Wave for the Ragnaros, as both teams aren't going to send those Siege Camp minions out here early on. And we see Li Ming and Ragnaros coming right up into the Bruiser Camp. And hey, you know what? Go figure. Greymane doing very much the same. So we pretty much just have a 1-1-1 with the others heading around the map to pick up these camps. While the Soak is slightly in favor of Tainted Orphans here. Which is maybe a little bit surprising. Although Falstad did come out of this top lane. He's actually heading down to bottom because he's got that global. So he can head down here. And in 30 seconds or 45 seconds or so, he can fly up when Dahaka leaves the lane as well. That gives him some time now to see if he can't pressure with the Siege Giants. But up in the top lane, the Tainted Orphans Giants trying to get to the wall. They do get a little bit of damage, but not much. Murden having to get away there as Marshall getting that last little bit of damage. Couldn't quite get the kill. Maybe with that level 7 Calamity could have had it, but not quite there yet. And it's actually now Minion Miners ahead, very slightly in this XP race. This is going to be the lane to watch, of course, aside from the actual fight over this tribute itself, is which of our solo laners is going to head away first? Who's gonna play chicken there? Is the Bruiser camp gonna get cleaned up in the mid? And that's gonna give both teams now the opportunity to move in. This should be, in theory, in favor of Minion Miners because of the Abathur pick, but they're all kind of pushed far away, so only Himibo up here on the Ragnaros has a close push on this. And, I mean, this isn't ideal to have the first tribute go over to the team with the Abathur. And they didn't gain anything. So ultimately there was one back, but there you go. Big stuns coming out onto the Kharazim. But it's actually Wezgra who's getting caught in first blood. Muradin coming in, getting that kill onto the giant bug. Penitential, hey, thanks again for the follow. And we've got the second tribute coming up. Now, this is a tribute that Minion Miners really needs to make sure they get. They don't want to leave this one on the map, because if you go into the third tribute against an Abathur comp, that's a big problem if they've got level 10. But right now, it looks like they're in a pretty good position here. Getting that Muradin down, brought to half. He has his own self-healing, but also, of course, Abathur to help out as well. So expect this fight to go for a little while, as Abathur going to be able to get a little bit of value, that XP up in the top lane here. Big stun coming out onto the Ragnaros, but counter stun from the Anubarak pushing on the Muradin, forcing him to use his Dwarf Toss to get out there. Greymane now taking a bunch of damage, has the Abathur hat, as Bridge to Death coming back in and throwing out that Stormbolt, getting the kill onto the Falstad. Now Marshall having to pull back, has the Blast Wave from Ragnaros to give him a little bit of movement speed. And Senor Mac of Cheese spreading around that disease, trying to get some extra healing, but getting caught, pulled in by the drag. But Li Ming coming in with the kill onto the Greymane, giving at least a little bit of value to this, although they do lose that second tribute. So definitely more in favor here of Tainted Orphans. 2 tributes already for the Abathur team, and with the expectation now of level 10s coming up soon, getting a clone target. But look, with that in mind, Minion Miners saying, hey, before level 10, we need to try to get this boss down. But Rag is extremely low from the damage here, and here they come. Get the drag, pulling Anubarak in. Blast Wave gonna go on to Anubarak. He's gonna dive away. So that limits now Minion Miners' opportunities here. This boss is very low, and only a half a level so far until Tainted Orphans so are able to get level 10. Stukov gonna get stunned, gets the Greymane dive, and that's going to be the deletion of the healer. They're looking for Wezgra. Can they catch the bug and squish him? They do get the one shot necessary to take him out. Boss did get leashed, but Dahaka right here finishes up the tribute. And that's going to be the first curse of the game. And with 2 heroes down, that's not a great time for Minion Miners. And we already know, with Greymane, with Kharazim, with Muradin coming into the Sledgehammer, this is a quick clear for this boss. And also, check it out. Muradin has hit 9 Stormbolts, but he has 23 stacks. He's getting kills off of these Stormbolts. That's what's happening. Because you get 2 extras when you kill somebody within a period of time of that Stormbolt. You also get an extra one with the Sledgehammer. So, I mean, you know, there's some of it from that. Level 10's up for both teams, however. Dahaka coming down, looking for the Falstad, is going to have the barrel roll to get away. But towers, they're not shooting yet. Oh, the isolation missing. And now, does Muradin get out? He ends up using that Mighty Gust to push back the Dahaka, but once again, Murden there getting the stacks on the kill on Stukov. The boss pushing so hard up here in the top lane thanks to that curse. Getting the full fort, and listen closely and you can hear the sound of Li Ming with the Seekers. Unless she's not there anymore. Following the action, though, we got Tainted Orphans coming down onto their own boss. And there's no Mighty Gust. 20 seconds until that's up. This boss won't be alive that long. And Falstad having to clear out the lane. So this should be a boss for Tainted Orphans without any real contest here. So largely in control of this map is Tainted Orphans. They've been able to get all of the tributes. They pushed down one fort, did some damage into that keep wall, and they're going to take down a second fort here. Level 13 advantage in their favor. 2 full levels up. Well, 1 full level up in a little bit. So they've got a lot of advantages here. This is their game to lose. Is definitely, if you're playing this game right now as Tainted Orphans, that's how you're feeling. And if you're Minion miners, you got to find your stride. You have to find that, maybe the Mighty Gust, right? You throw out the curse, I'm sorry, we saw the curse bullet. Maybe throw out a cocoon, get that Mighty Gust to isolate the team and get some kills. Got to find that to be able to get these tributes and make some plays. Well, drag coming out is going to land onto the Anubrak, and that's going to be 1 dead bug. Bridge to death, jumping in, using the avatar, getting shoved back by the Mighty Gust. But with this boss still going here, the bottom keep going to go down. First keep of the game, just over the 9-minute mark. So Tainted Orphans putting out a lot of work. We do have Abathur here trying to keep mid open as well. Lava Wave going up into the top lane. And everybody's up for Minion Miners, but this tribute doesn't secure anything for either team. So there's no super rush for Minion Miners. They're not on the same talent tier just yet. They can work on getting that first. Maybe Ragnaros gets it right here. Never mind. There were no minions to get there. But it is 13 now, and Murden versus Anubrak here. Murden posting up aggressively, making sure that there's a wide berth for his team. Gets caught, scouted out by the Stukov. But once again, first tribute going to go over there for Tainted Orphans. Curse Bullet being dodged there by Himibo. But Greymane able to get away from the rest of the team, who showed up coming in, trying to help out the Ragnaros. And Tainted Orphan says, you know what, we got pressure in a bot lane. We got Catapult showing up. There's a big stun onto the Anubrak. He's going to have to burrow out to safety. And they're getting close to the 16. Ragnaros is going to do his best to defend this. Oh, and the Mighty Gust pushing everybody away. A little bit of miscommunication there, I would think. Slightly different positioning there, and maybe that combination of the Mighty Gust with the Rag Fort, Molten Core, could have turned into quite the bloodbath. But Dahaka pushing up in the bottom lane, forcing Minion Miners to come back, clean up this lane. There are 3 catapults here. They don't want to just lose the game to random catapults showing up. Next tribute, 16 to 14. This clock is ticking loudly for Minion Miners. They don't have the potential really to go fight that, unless they somehow manage to get this kill on Dahaka. They just don't have the lockdown required, as Kerzim and Murden posting up here. But there's just nothing to be done. Minion Miners down in the bot lane. They have to take down the structures. Like, they can't leave them at 80% or what have you, because we've got Mule. Drag coming in, nearly getting the Anubrak killed just between the tower and the Haka and the health. The hat. There we go, the other H word. Greymane, however, looking for the Anubrak, is going to get put in the cocoon, but Senor Mac of Cheese is in a bit of a tight spot, is actually going to head through the team. Let's zoom out a little bit so we can try to watch all of the action here, but it looks like we're all going to rotate in and send Stukov packing. Ultimately, Stukov sacrificing his life to make sure that the rest of his team could get out. But I imagine that this is the next target here. 30 seconds on Stukov. You've got Sledgehammer, you've got Greymane, you've got Kerzim. Top boss could be a target coming up here, especially with that level 16 advantage. and also with a potential curse point here. Ragnaros, however, a little bit far up, is going to get taken out. 7-sided, helping to secure that, and that's going to give them for sure this opportunity now. Grab this boss, and Dahaka's already in place. He can clean this up and join his team. I don't think he's got Brushstalker, though. Never mind, he does. So he's able to pick this up and then head right back to his team up here on the top. However, Merlin and Karazim saying, hey, there's a bruiser camp over here. So much like the first curse, top lane boss picked up, this time a little bit better timing than they had in the last round. Just by, circumstances. They picked up the boss after the curse started. So this is going to force minion miners to deal with that top lane. As mid lane, the fort's going to go down. And then they're going to move on that keep. See what they can get out of it. Is that fireflies? Sure is. Lava Wave coming out, trying to keep Li Ming alive, but just not enough between the Karazim and the Abathur hat. That auto attack speed from the Symbiote Haste. What's that called again? Adrenal Overload. Giving the Karazim just extra damage there. Molten Core trying to save the keep there, but it doesn't take much to come out of that when you've got a boss pounding on you. So 1 kill so far on the Li Ming. Karazim going to go into the cocoon, and a lot of damage going out, but just not enough. 3 levels down to secure any kills. The boss making its way to the core. Currently at half health, but you have to think that this is their opportunity to push. They don't have Li Ming. Although level 20 is coming up. Bridge to Death is going to fall there. They're just not putting that damage into the core. Will to Live on the clone, trying to get in onto the core, see what he can do. Does get a little bit more damage, but 35% is the number. As Tainted Orphans now pulling entirely back, and that gives the second kill of this game over to Minion Miners. The question is, what can they do with it? Can they get down here, maybe get this boss? Not sure if that's where they're heading. It looks like they're going to get the siege camp. There's 25 seconds still on Murden. They don't have quite as much clear as Tainted Orphan has with the Greymane and the Adrenal Overload and the Hive Mind giving them double. But they clear up the lanes, and now they're heading over. And this is a little bit more dangerous of a time for them to try to do this. Murden's going to be up in a few seconds. They've got Dahaka. They can see Dahaka in the top lane. So maybe they're not going to get the boss. Well, they know that now. They know they're there. There's the Karazim getting caught by the root. Did get stunned, or missed the stun rather, from Anubrak. 7-sided going to keep him alive. Himibo, however, very low. Falstad coming in. Gets the gust, but it only hits Murden and goes right into the wall, so not quite the angle they needed. Falstad actually falls immediately. Stukov going to fall into Himibo. And Marshhole going to be the next kills. 4 kills there for Tainted Orphans. Maybe a 5th one. Can Racecar Dahaka catch up? Does get the drag and make it a full team wipe as Tainted Orphans heading up to the core. And the Abathur, of course, coming in to get his time in the sun. Game number 1 going over to Tainted Orphans. Very strong game by them. Very much in control throughout that matchup. Even in the beginning with the Abathur, they were able to really take this game all the way through. And Minion Miners are, that was their map pick, so they need to come into this next game, have a strategy, and execute it well. We did see those level 20s there for a little bit. I'm not sure. It's possible, like, Tainted Orphans, if they just all-in on the core earlier, I think they could have done it. 35%, a couple of Murden Stormbolts into that thing, and then you had Greymane, if they'd done that. But, I mean, they ultimately, again, had the control. They didn't really need to. And it worked out. They ended up coming out with the win. So, this is the number 1 team versus the number 4 team from Division A West. And taking a look at those standings again here. So 24 points for Tainted Orphans, 15 for Minion Miners. Now, keeping in mind, of course, that the Division A West was a double round robin because it's clearly a smaller division than most of the divisions in NGS. So each of these teams has faced off against each other twice in this division. So I'm gonna pull up here just to get an idea and see what their stats looked like during the regular season. Let's see. So we want Orphans to be fine. Results. All right. So it looks like in the regular season, their first matchup, Tainted Orphans won 2-1. In their second matchup, Tainted Orphans actually won 2-0. So they've got the history on this. Their first matchup, the 3-game series, they started with Infernal Shrines. That was won by Minion Miners. Cursed Hollow was the second game. It was won by Tainted Orphans. And then Tomb of the Spider Queen was the selection of the third game. That was won by Tainted Orphans. So that was their first matchup. Their second matchup in the season here was also Cursed Hollow and Infernal Shrines. So Cursed Hollow has been played all 3. It's been won by Tainted Orphans all 3. So we'll see. You know, at this point, it's up to Minion Miners. Do they want first pick? Do they want map pick? And where do they go from there? Right? Infernal Shrines was the other map that was played both of these sets. They won one, they lost one. So is that your pick, or do you look for something that might be a little bit different? Well, as long as we're talking about it, let's take a look at those maps. So the Tomb of the Spider Queen is banned out, so we talked about that. So, you know, Infernal Shrines is available. That's certainly a possibility. The macro play that we saw on Cursed Hollow was very well executed by Tainted Orphans. So I think that Minion Miners probably want to look at a map that's a little bit more brawly. So, you know, I would expect that we're going to see maybe a BOE, maybe we see Volskaya, or possibly Infernal Shrines. I don't think we'll see Dragonshire. I don't think we'll see Alterac Pass. Just my thoughts. Oh, shit. Looks like I'm dead wrong. And we're going to Alterac Pass, but I don't know who actually picked this. So if this was the selection of Tainted Orphans, then I think that's completely correct. So we'll find out here in just a second. Alterac Pass. And first draft. Yeah, okay. That's why. So first draft team is going to be the Minion Miners. So this was the selection of Tainted Orphans. So I think that makes a lot of sense. From their perspective, yeah, Dragonshire, Alterac Pass, I think are very heavily, you know, in their favor from if they play the same kind of style as the last game. So we shall see. Thanks to Silvara for the 17 bits, much appreciated. Glad you could stop by. Why 17? Just wondering, because you do different numbers sometimes, and obviously like Weenus and some of them do the 69 bits because it's a meme at this point. So I'm just wondering, is there a special significance to the 17? Just wondering. So just a quick check-in here. It looks like the other Division A matchup here between Phoenix Rising Ruby and Regen Retro is currently in process. And it's looking very even. 10 minutes into the game, neither team has a fort down, it looks like, on Dragonshire. So if you're not watching that, make sure that you pull it up in a separate window so that you can also watch Murda over there. Of course, Murda RG, part of the Regen family, the original founder. Gotta show some love over there. But here we go into our draft. Let's go. Greymane, the first ban of the set so far. Greymane got a lot of value. Made it a lot more difficult for them. Although I'm still kind of surprised. Like, Abathur could still be a challenge on a map like Alterac Pass. So, you know, are they just gonna let that through? Or do they feel that there are other issues that were more challenging? Clearly the Greymane they felt was the most challenging. Or at least a significant challenge. And there goes Johanna, so they don't want to deal with that. So it's not super common to see Abathur, but it's not going to surprise me if they take it. There are other Abathur hat options. There goes Cassio. ETC, the first pickup. Switching Himibo off the Ragnaros, going over to the Cowman. Another map where globals can provide a lot of value potentially, so could see a Falstad also provides the additional value of the Mighty Gust to have a boss play. Sticking with what they know going into that Muradin and adding on the Tassadar. And you know what? Muradin's a hero that I don't think gets nearly as much love as he should. He's really strong. He has the potential to stay in fights for a long time thanks to his second wind. He can do a respectable amount of damage. Yeah. Then you got Tassadar. So a stun coming into the Tassadar Shock Ray could definitely cause some issues. But we're actually going to get now Leoric and Lily. So what kind of craziness are we getting out of the Minion Miners here? Why are we getting the Lily? What is it that Lily brings to this table? Is it going to be a double support with Lily? I think probably is. But why? Like, what's their hyper carry with that? I don't know. Let's see. So who do we have left? We have Wesgra, we have Murderin. So, I mean, could they be looking at like a Vala? Because what does Lily bring? Lily brings the big slow if she's going to be a double support. She's got the blinds. Right now, there's not a lot that Tainted Orphans has shown for their auto attackers. So we'll see about that. Urel going to be banned out, by the way. But I also wouldn't be surprised to see like a Deathwing here. Maybe not. Maybe not. Tassadar can do a massive chunk of damage to Deathwing. Leoric can as well, so they might try to stay away from that on both sides. All right, so Tychus. And what else do we get? Is it maybe it is going to be a solo healer, Lily? What else we got? We got the Malfury and the Daka. So I really like how this comp is shaping. Okay, it is going to be double. Okay. Karazim. Lots of percent damage from the side of Minion Miner. So we're not going to see... I don't think it's likely to see Deathwing. Not into Tychus, Karazim, Leoric. Go Orphans. Says Taki. One final pick here, and it's going to be Zeratul. So a lot of CZ potential. We got a Stormbolt, we've got a Root, we got the Wall, which isn't a direct CC, but it's still, I mean, it's controlling your crowds. So really strong, solid comp here from Tainted Orphans. But it's going to be up to the Minion Miners. Can they make essentially their blow up comp work? I don't know. This is going to be an interesting game to watch, I think. You know what? Let's see what you think. Let's put up that poll. Actually, let's see what were the results of the last game. 67% said Tainted Orphans. Well, you guys are right. Let's see who wins game number 2, according to you guys. Who wins game number 2? Alrighty then. All set up, ready to go into game number 2. Let's get this started. On the left, it's Tainted Orphans coming off a hot win on Cursed Hollow. We got Waffleman playing the Malfurion. We got Raver on the Zeratul, Bridge to Death on the Muradin, Will to Live on the Tassadar, and Variations on Dahaka. And over here to the right, it's Minion Miners looking to keep their playoff dreams alive. It's going to be Marshall on Leoric, Senor Mac of Cheese on the Lili, Wesgra. Going to be on Karazin. We got Murderin on Tychus, and Himibo, they're playing the ETC. Alrighty, so Karazin going into the healing. And yeah, Transcendence, okay. So a little bit of a difference there between the two different versions of Karazin. Whole lot of B-step going on. Putting on a show, making sure everybody knows that they have a working keyboard here. And there's that crowd control force wall there. Gets a big root onto ETC and Leoric. Able to both get out there as they're pretty beefy. No pun intended. At least not on purpose. Alright, so let's see. Wave clear. Tassadar's got pretty good wave clear. Zeratul's got pretty decent wave clear. On the other side, Leoric. So, wave clear probably slightly in favor of Tainted Orphans there. We got the camps being picked up. So, last game, right at the 1 minute mark. We are just a little bit behind on this game. Both teams just slightly behind. Getting on their siege camps. And I think, man, I don't know. This is going to take them both a little while to do. 50-50 on the votes. I kind of have to agree with you, because it feels to me like, well, I don't know. I think Tainted Orphans has a little bit of an advantage here with their CC chains, because I think Zeratul, as this goes late game, I think Zeratul and Tassadar are just going to put out so much damage, and, you know, one root turns into a dead target. So we'll see. It depends on who they root. Lili's got that short cleanse. Karazim, of course, can get out of things. He's got that unstoppable potential as well. So we'll see how this turns out. But I think we're going to get a while in before we even get a kill. So we'll see how long this takes. Lot of action here in the mid lane. 4 versus 3, so that's going to give a little bit of XP advantage over there to Minion Miners. They've got ETC in the bot lane, of course, Leo and Dahaka here in the top, but Leo's coming down, so might look to flank in behind this. But instead, just a little bit of a flyby. Marshall coming down, saying, you know what, you don't need me, I'm coming back up top. There's XP up here. As our first prison camps of the game coming up on 13 seconds here. And we've got Tychus, the Stormbolt there missing. And nearly getting the kill onto the Muradin. That said, without ETC or without a Entomb, there's very little lockdown on the side of Minion Miners to really help out the Tychus. So I think that's, we're going to see a Water Dragon. I think we'll see maybe the slowing attacks from Lili, the slow on Blinding Wind. She did try to get that stall there, just couldn't quite get that. But with that in mind, once again, Siege Camp going to get picked up here by Minion Miners. They're going to get that out on the map. But is it enough? I mean, there's only 13 seconds left on this counter. The first prison camp goes by very quickly. And Leoric can't get down to this fight nearly as quickly as Dahaka. So I think that Tainted Orphans gets it. Especially if they can get some lockdown there. Wesgra taking a lot of damage, had the root from Malfurion coming in. but he's able to get away. So just the cavalry coming in, a little bit of an XP advantage here for minion miners. And they're going to need that XP to keep the pressure up and clear out this cavalry as quickly as possible. Lily did not go into Let's Go, so no cleanse talent here for Lily. We probably will see it maybe on Kerosene. Maybe not. But all of the resources here dedicated toward the mid lane, aside from our solo laners there in the top. Big Force Wall is going to keep 3 of them locked down right at their gate, as Himibo coming in trying to escape the dangers behind the cavalry. But mid will get cleaned up. Murderin almost kind of tempting fate there. But it's going to be the Kerosene. Oh, he tries to dive over that wall, but just because of the positioning, not quite able to do it. So front wall down on this mid fort, and Senor Mac of Cheese is flirting with danger here, but it's Tygus getting the stun, follow up with the root. It looks like we've got the, is it Vengeful Roots? Is that what it's called? Strangling Vines, rather. 40% less healing anytime somebody gets rooted. So with the amount of CC that Tainted Orphans has, that pretty much means that anybody coming in there is going to have a 40% penalty on their healing. But they're back on their siege camp, so this is number 3, I believe, to number 2 so far. And they're getting close to level 10, but they are about to lose this mid fort. So Minion Miners now coming in with level 10. It is going to be a whole lot of slows. We got the stage dive. We've got the water dragon. It's going to be March of the Black King. So no potential for Entomb either. So really just no real lockdown other than the very short period of time that ETC can lock down with a stun. Everything else is a soft slow, like Lily's, which is, again, I mean, it's a lot of slow, but it's still just a slow. Top lane, however, has a nice hefty minion wave. Gonna give minion miners the opportunity to get some push here. And they gotta be a little bit careful. Dahaka's the only one defending, but if you attack Dahaka somehow, the tower attacks you. But a VP coming in onto 3. Here comes the big root. Stage dive coming in as well here. Black Hole getting so much value. But ultimately, Himibo able to disengage for his team. Wezgra having to pull back. Oh, a big root coming from Malfurion as the drag landing onto Karazim and able to finish that kill. Big stun from Murden as well onto Himibo. As Force Wall now coming in. And I don't think that Force Wall stops Leoric's Wraithwalk. It would stop his Death March, though. But all the while, mid-camp there, pressuring into this wall. So bottom tower looks like it's going to go down here. And that's just great timing on keeping the camp out there and also choosing when to fight. Zeratul might be looking to get on the Tychus here, but not quite able to finish the job. As another stun coming out from Murden, this time onto Tychus. So Murden taking a slightly different build than we saw last game. He took that Perfect Storm and then the Sledgehammer. In this game, going into that Third Wind and Thunderburn. That's the extra circle. ETC coming in with the stage dive is going to get caught by the root. Black Hole going out. Doesn't look like it catches anything, but the big water dragon going to put stasis onto Dahaka there using that burrow. And Leoric kind of blocking in the Tassadar. Is he in a bad place, though? Looks like he is going to get that Wraithwalk out just in the nick of time. As the cavalry coming up here. Bridge to death very low, but there's not really any way to get him killed. The Void Prison going out onto 3 is going to have the Strangling Vines. And Karazim just doesn't have it in him to be able to get out of that. ETC being chased now by Tainted Orphans. They're going to get the drag, and they say, you know what, we'll take the shots from the tower. We can deal with that. Mid cavalry is going to get cleared up. There's quite a significant push here in that mid lane. But bottom going to get that fort damaged pretty significantly. I'm not sure that Lili's going to be able to do much to stop it either. Up in the top, Leoric doing what he can to slow down. So probably keep both of these forts as Tychus is coming down. Maybe not. ETC coming with the stage dive does get the stun onto Dahaka. Probably has a burrow, but ultimately didn't really matter. He was going to die just about either way that went. But saving the fort with about 15-20% of its health. Zeratul clearly looking for an engagement here. Has the Muradin. Probably looking for the boss to do some damage. Does get that quick Void Slash in there. And then vacates the premises. Karazim nearby. So this is a 4 versus 3. But Tassadar and Leoric are on their way. This is a fight that apparently both teams want. And the XP is about as even as it can possibly be here. So 7-side going out onto Murderin. He's going to pop that avatar. Keep things moving forward here. Water Dragon did, I think, land there onto Tassadar. It was just a little bit outside. But the Black Hole did go out as well, slowing down the Minion Miners here. Root coming out onto ETC with those Strangling Vines. Void Prison in the back is going to hit onto 2, slowing things down for the Karazim and the Lili. But it's not enough to keep them locked down and get a kill. Wesgra, however, not in great place, is going to actually fall here. And that should give now Tainted Orphans the opportunity to maybe finish off this fort. Bringing forward the minions to allow them to tank would be just enough. But, you know, Zeratul says, I don't need to do that. I can get most of this myself. And it's back to the boss lane. So we did see earlier here this fight over the boss ended very quickly. So just about to finish that up. That'll be going in the bot. If it's left, it'll take the keep. It won't end the game. So I fully expect that Minion Miners are going to try to finish that off. But that does also mean that the cavalry very much likely in favor here of Tainted Orphans here in about 50 seconds. We arc up on the top, trying to soak them closer to that 16. Give them those extra talents. Maybe give Karazim that unstoppable. Give Lili either the increased healing or what is it? A brew for 2. Maybe throw out two jugs. 20 seconds on the counter, and they see Dahaka's in the top. And they've got vision over the mid, so they know it's just Muradin here. They're going to come back in here and get the channel. Siege Camp picked up by Tainted Orphans, so that'll be going in the mid lane. And they have to be cautious about this. They can't let that go either, because that'll get more damage on their keep area there. The roots have been fantastic. But, you know, it can be a little easy when you've got other CCs, like that Stormbolt, for example. But here comes ETC, is going to get caught by the root. Dahaka misses the tongue there as ETC juking it. 7-sided coming out against a couple targets, so not quite as effective as it could be. But there's the Water Dragon onto Muradin. Death March coming from Leoric. Is it enough to finish off the Muradin? He's so close. ETC coming into the power slide, but it's Leoric just getting absolutely demolished, followed by ETC. The two of them so deep in the enemy team, just taking all of the damage of Tassadar, the cleaves from Zeratul, and of course at 16, taking that Void Slash upgrade, getting the cooldown reduction and additional damage. So relatively squishy team. Yeah, they have a couple of healers, but they're also a couple of the, you know, these aren't healers that you expect to typically see at the top of your healing meters, right? They're doing occasional kind of consistent healing, but even like the likes of Lili, you have to position a little bit differently than normal to be able to heal, in some cases, the target that you want to. And Karazim going into Way of the 100 Fists, so full on going DPS here. Muradin catching onto 2 with the big root. Senor Mac of Cheese gonna throw out that Water Dragon. The Dwarf Toss interrupted by Himibo. But the black hole getting a big stun onto 2 as Bridge to Death going in deep is going to go ahead and use the Dwarf Toss to get out. Raver as well in the back line there, just making use of that Void Cleave. Tygus going to fall, and ETC right thereafter has the isolation on him. Calling for the Leoric. There's the drag coming out. And that is a triple, make it a quad kill, sorry, for Tainted Orphans. And with the cavalry coming in, how far can they take us, especially with Reskra falling? Is this the end of game? Lily's the only one who's going to be up. 1 keep already down, 2nd keep falling now. The 3rd keep may very well fall just from the cavalry here in a few moments. And we do see Tainted Orphans heading to the core. Lily going in with the Water Dragon, not quite enough. Oh, we got a brief pause, you know, with the Void Prison there. Kill onto Lily. Just 5k left on the core as game number 2 going over to Tainted Orphans. And they will advance on to the Division A West Coastal Finals. Quite a game out of the number 1 seed from A West. Quite a set. Doing a really fantastic job controlling the map, controlling the team fights, making sure that they were everywhere they needed to be, and moving on. So let's go ahead and check in, see if they want to do an interview here. Not actually sure who the captain is. I should probably look at that. All right, we'll see if we can get an interview here with Bridge to Death. Okay, so yes. So find a place in lobby 5. Hopefully no, they're not.
Hello.
Hello there. All right, I wasn't sure if Bridge to Nowhere was also Bridge to Death. I thought it probably was, but I didn't want to message the wrong person.
Twos around here, so.
Right. Well, hey, listen, so congratulations on your victory. Really just looking really strong here. I didn't get an opportunity to cast you guys this season, so this is my first chance to do so. And it looked fantastic. How's the team feeling after this win?
Oh, we feel really good. We were able to get in and get some really clean victories, like a total of 3 deaths amongst both games that we played. So, we're feeling good after that win. Just we're going to try and carry that momentum into the next playoff game.
And if speaking of the next playoff game, that happens to be going on right now. Yeah, over on Murda's channel. I'm actually going to raid over there right when we're done here. So definitely want to check that out. It's between Phoenix Rising Ruby and Regen Retro. So for those people that are out there, you probably already knew that. Tell me a little bit give me a quick summary of your team, because I'm not familiar with the team. Is this a first iteration of your team? Is it a new version? Is it like, have you guys played in other leagues? Like, what's the deal?
So me and Will to Live, who's a DPS player, we've actually been playing together since whenever when dorms first kind of started. We played for our Texas State team. And we were able to play together through that, and we kind of just picked up people along the way. Variations, our solo laner, we met through a couple of streamers, similar people that we watched, and kind of linked up with him, and then grew from silver up to where we are now. And then Ravar was actually our coach at one point from learning 5s. That was a thing back in the day in HOTS. He was actually our coach during that, and then he kind of got us up to the skill, helped us get up to the skill that we are. And then Waffle Man was kind of someone that we just also met in communities, and he's done a really good job. So we just we had people that we liked playing with, and we just kind of brought them together and decided to go at it at NGS this season, just because for fun, just to see what we could do if we still had it.
Sure. Well, and obviously you guys look real strong right now. Phoenix Rising Ruby is up 1-0 over Regen Retro. So, just to throw that out there, they're the number 2 and 3 seeds. Is there a team between those two that you are more interested in facing in your next set?
Actually, yeah, Phoenix Rising Ruby is definitely a team that we want to play more so, just because we've known some of their players on there for a while. So it's always fun to go against them and just compete head to head, just to see who's gotten better along the way. I don't think either one of them is a harder matchup for us necessarily. They're both strong teams. So like I don't have a preference. We did lose one set to Regen Retro during the season, so I mean, I think maybe they do something against us better that we're not used to facing. But other than that, like we don't really have a preference for who we want to go against. They're both strong teams.
Sure. Well, you guys looked really strong tonight. Like you said, you just had the few kills between the two, or sorry, deaths, deaths in the two, and I thought your guys's. Did I lose you?
Oh my god! Whoa! Hold on, my Discord just lagged so bad.
Okay.
All I heard was somebody.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah. So.
Sorry.
So what I was saying, and it may have been my side. It does that sometimes here. But what I was saying is just simply like, you guys looked really strong between these two matchups. You had, like you said, only a few deaths in between them. And that your CC chain in particular on game number 2 looked well polished. It's quite clear that you guys have spent a lot of time growing together as a team, like you said. The synergy is really strong. What are your thoughts, regardless of what happens playoff wise, what are you guys doing after this season? Are you doing other events? Are you planning on maybe looking at Storm Division? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so we're actually looking possibly at doing Storm Division, but we're also I think they announced a CCL tournament, like they're doing something with that, like Dreadnought and that whole organization announced something too. So we're actually looking to like try and go into that as well. And we just kind of helped us, set a team and get our rhythm in, so that we can carry it over to either a higher division or something like that, the CCL. So we're looking at doing that as well. And it'll be fun to see how we do over there.
Sure, absolutely. Well, I mean, you guys played a really fantastic matchup tonight. If you had to pick somebody, doesn't matter which team, but if you had to pick somebody, who would your MVP be for tonight?
MVP. That's tough. I think I'm gonna have to go with Variations, because he was landing some fat tongues on the Haka. I'm not gonna lie. He was playing good macro with the Haka, and he was landing some fat tongues too.
Absolutely. No, fantastic. And I do want to say, and of course, it can always be a little bit humbling making that statement and all that, but you played Murden very well. You had a lot of really strong kill secures, whether it was a Stormbolt or setting plays up early. So want to give credit where credit's due there. My last question here, I don't know if you've even ever seen a cast of mine, but my last question is always, was there any particular moment from the match that we just played here that you want to make sure is called out as a highlight moment, something that stuck out? Doesn't have to be something super stellar or anything crazy. Maybe we didn't even catch it on stream, but something you want to make sure that gets highlighted in case people come back and go watch it.
I think the highlight that I could think of is I think it was the first team fight, or maybe it was the second team fight on Cursed Hollow. It was the bot right, the bot right curse.
Yep.
And our comms during that was like, we were going absolutely bananas. Like there was callouts being made left and right, and it was like, but every callout was like unanimous. Like we were all on the same wave, and it like the team fight just like it was so fluid for us that it just felt like I was not even there. It was kind of weird, but it was a really smooth, clean fight, and I just remember like it being over as fast as it started. I might be thinking just because in the moment it might have felt like that, but I just remember that fight specifically being really clean.
No, that was it was particularly fast. I don't remember who you got, but you got an early kill on that. and it, you know, it turned into you guys being able to get that that second tribute, and I mean, that was really the moment that kind of set up the rest of the game. You know, with an Abathur comp, you know, having both of those tributes early in the game meant that it, you know, you snowball a little bit harder as you get on there. So, you know, obviously in that circumstance, we only see what we can see. But like you said, when your comms and your team is just in sync and synergizing so well, I can understand why you would pick that moment for sure.
Yeah.
So, listen, before we wrap up, any shout outs you'd like to make?
Yeah, of course. Shout out to NGS as an organization as a whole. Now, yeah, we got to shout them out for giving us a platform to keep playing HOTS. It's a really fun game. You know, we're all here for a reason because we enjoy playing it. So shout out to them. Shout out to you as a caster for putting on the performance that is our games, because, you know, without casting, it would just be sweaty boys just going at it in their, you know, in their bedrooms on their PCs. But, you know, you make it a little more entertaining to watch and, you know, give us some commentary on the side. So shout out to you for that. Shout out to my team, the Tainted Orphans. Shout out to Minion Miners for putting up a good fight against us. I know they really wanted Ravar to put his Zeratul up because they were talking about it a lot in the last game, as we watched the last game that they played against Region Anomaly. So shout out to them for letting us play Zeratul. I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, I think that's all I got.
Right on. Well, hey, listen, congratulations on your victory. Good luck in your next matchup, whoever it's against, and onward to, you know, potentially to the grand finals.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Yep. Have a good one.
All right. You too.
All right. That's going to wrap us up. 2 casts tonight, both 2-0 victories. This one being the Tainted Orphans over Minion. Yeah, Raver, I know, right? Like that. So just a little bit of awkward moment there. 2-0 Tainted Miners over. I'm sorry. Tainted Orphans over Minion Miners. They will advance to the Coastal Finals for Division A, and they'll face off against PRR or Regen Retro. And you know what? Let's not dance around this any longer. Let's send you guys over to Murda so that you can check out the rest of that game. Thanks for joining me tonight. Have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you again soon.